favorite moments in the new Doctor Who is when the 11th Doctor meets Clara, and he brings her into his time machine, the TARDIS. And she steps inside, and she gets this expression of awe on her face, and he grins knowingly, because this always happens. From the outside, the TARDIS looks like a police box, but when you step inside, it's enormous and futuristic looking. The Doctor thinks he knows what Clara is going to say, because people always say the same thing the first time they enter the TARDIS. They say, "It's bigger on the inside." But Clara doesn't. Suddenly, she steps outside the TARDIS, runs around the police box, comes back inside, and says, "It's smaller on the outside." Amanda Palmer is a rock star who just happens to be wise about the nature of creative endeavors, and particularly about the relationship between a creator and their audience. But that doesn't mean that the public has always been kind to her, and during a period when she was under a lot of public criticism, and she was depressed for other reasons as well, she wrote a song called "Bigger on the Inside," which she recently released to her supporters. In the song, Amanda says that you, me, all of us, we're like the TARDIS, we're bigger on the inside. We contain mysteries and wonders that are invisible to other people. Amanda says that when we hate someone else, what we're really hating is a partial representation of a person that exists in our mind. Implied is the belief that if we saw what was going on inside, we wouldn't hate them. We would find them beautiful, and we would love them. So Amanda invites us to come inside. It's a lovely song, and the ending in particular it's... well... excuse me, I need some chocolate. But while using our capacities for empathy and imagination to enter the inner worlds of other people is a noble pursuit, there is a complication. It's not just that we fail to love people when we don't peer into their inner worlds, it's that people actively hide their spacious inner selves from each other. That inner universe isn't always experienced as a birthplace for creativity and beauty. It's often, maybe even primarily, experienced as a void. A lack. When we look at other people and all we see is the smaller on the outside representation, it reinforces the notion that that unexplained emptiness inside us is pathological, so we hide it away. We encourage other people to think we're as small on the inside as we appear from the outside. Meanwhile, we try to fill that hole with money and success and children and fame and religion and more money. Or we distract and we anesthetize ourselves with the internet and food. Needless to say, all this grasping and repression isolates us and exacerbates misunderstanding and cruelty between people, so why not quit doing it, right? Why not quit hiding the bizarre and magnificent inner cosmos that we contain, and go start exploring the magical realms that other people have locked away in their mental wardrobes? Because it's risky and painful. Because it might turn out that emptiness inside you is pathological after all. Because they might laugh. They might judge you. They might be shocked or offended. As Amanda Palmer pointed out, when people see the smaller on the outside version of yourself and they hate it, at least they're only hating a low-res copy. Having invested time in this smaller on the outside suit that we wear, to an extent, that person has become our identity. We created that person so that other people would like us. So low-res copy though it may be, it expresses something of who we think we should be. And in order to open up the TARDIS to show the world what's inside, that person has to die. The practice of vulnerability is the practice of death. When Jesus tried to explain the necessity of his death to his disciples, he used the metaphor of a seed. In order to give life to the plant that is inside it, a seed has to go down into the earth and split down the middle. Depending on the seed, a wheat plant, or a mustard plant, or a sequoia might spring forth from that tiny house, which reveals through its death that it was always much bigger on the inside. But the seed itself is gone, completely replaced by the plant. The process of splitting open and of dying to self is as painful as it sounds. Jesus describes himself as deeply troubled, and he wishes that he could be protected from it, but he also knows that it's his purpose. And he knows something else about what will happen. When I am lifted up, Jesus says, I will draw everyone to me. In other words, his death won't repel, it will attract. Despite our real and legitimate fears that being vulnerable to other people will result in rejection and judgment, one of the deepest truths about vulnerability is that it's powerfully attractive. Just as our habits of grasping and repression inhibit connection and cause us to hurt one another, when we risk real vulnerability, the result, in many cases, is a profound deepening of intimacy. When Amanda Palmer wrote Bigger on the Inside, despite the lyrics' insistence that we need to get inside her to know her, she was actually turning herself inside out for our benefit. She shares intimate details like eating the skin from her fingers while depressed in bed. Like trying to call her brother who doesn't exist anymore and worrying that she's somehow still disappointing him for not shaking off these insults that people fling at her. Amanda singing that song is a seed splitting open and sprouting in front of us, and speaking for myself, it enabled me to love her better. There are a lot of ways to practice vulnerability, to practice death, but I think that Amanda Palmer demonstrates one of the best ones. Over the centuries, a lot of people have tried to define art. Maybe this is how we should define it. Art is the process of turning inside out. You are bigger on the inside. Share it. This video was a challenge to write because Amanda Palmer had me crying so much. I had to get it out of my system somehow, so I wrote my own lyrics to her song, and I had my friend Matt play guitar, and we kind of made a little recording of it. My version is similar but different. For example, I couldn't find any reference to Doctor Who in a song entitled Bigger on the Inside, so fix that for you, Amanda. I'm pretty scared everyone will hate it, but after this video, if I didn't let everyone hear it, I'd be a total hypocrite, so you can look for a link to the music video below. Oh, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Have I been doing the whole video with my fly down? That sucks. When Amanda Palmer